Welcome back to episode something of plotting. This is the show where I try to guess what's happening, what's going to happen in a movie that I've never seen, that I don't know anything about. And you're going to be here to tell me uh, how correct I am about that, or how much better my idea is.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so you just get the title,
Mhm.
and that's how you come up with your plot summary.
Right. Yeah.
Shocking us all with your very vivid imagination of how the world works.
Yeah, usually it's better than what has been written. Somebody should hire me to just give better ideas. Honestly, it should be a script supervisor or something of that nature.
Oh, you're just gonna jump to like a script supervisor.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty low level job.
Okay.
Very specifically, like pretty sure script supervisors just look and they're like, hey, this page should be before that page, like that sort of thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I
feel more comfortable with your ability to do that well.
Yeah, I can count, and things like that. So, all right. So, what do we got? What are we doing today?
The first one is I haven't seen this one either, but it's trending on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people talk about it. It is called Virgin River. It's a TV show, not a movie. It's a TV show, and it started in 2019.
Okay, Virgin River, huh? TV show Virgin River. All right, so I'm gonna say that Virgin River. So we're talking something that is kind of in the backwoods area, sort of a rural TV show. This sounds like just a straight up like CW TV show. I guess maybe CW TV show of old. Like a One Tree Hill or something like that. A lot of these shows, by the way, are set in like rural locations. I guess it's just easier to write about that because, like, I don't think people know. They're just like, it's a small town. Like, stuff happens. Like, nobody. I don't think anybody has any idea what happens in a small town, right? Like, it's such a foreign concept to people. I think most people who watch stuff, they're like, they just assume that they're from, like a bigger town, or like they're from some sort of, municipality that is at least has like 10,000 people in it or something like that. And this city obviously is going to have less than 10,000 people. I mean, that's just a fact. Like that's how all these things work, right? It's all like everybody knows everybody, whatever. Somehow there's always new characters, which doesn't make any sense to me. But like, there's only like 500 people in the city, but somehow there's always new characters.
Constant influx of new
like everybody,
people.
And I can't figure out, like, I don't know who's having children and like how they're keeping up the like the population itself, but there are always like very, very few people here. Like that sort of thing. I'm guessing that's what this is right now. What is the actual storyline? It could be, we do have a potential. There's a potential, right, that this could be like a literal Virgin River situation where it's like about like young kids, or like high school kids who are like trying to lose their virginity, right? Like that's one possibility. That sounds like,
to be honest, like I literally thought that that's what it was gonna be about when I heard people talking about it.
But that's too much. That's too on the nose, right? Like, so that sounds to me. Plus, that would be like an MTV show, right? Like I don't even know if MTV like still does that stuff anymore. But like, when I was watching MTV, it was a lot of like high school related, drama, whatever. Like I was too early for, like, I think that's where iZombie is, right? Something like that. Or was. No. I don't even know if it's still on. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, like that's how I see like that.
I love iZombie. That one hurt a little. That comparison. I'm just gonna.
No, but I mean that's like about like high school kids, right? It's like about like high school.
No.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay. Well, then I have no idea what iZombie is. For some reason, I thought that was.
You know what? The opening credits do make it look like high school because there was the initial infection was on like a boat party, but it's not high school.
I've never seen the opening credits of that. I've never seen a single frame of iZombie, so I just
You
assumed
just
that's
came
what
up
it
with
was. I think MTV used to have like some other show though that was like about that. It was like about it was something like that. It was like high school kids and like there was zombies in it and or vampire. I don't know what they were.
Yeah.
But that's like that. That would be like Virgin River if it was like an MTV show. I don't think it's an MTV show. I think it's like a CW show. So I think it's going to be about like an older person. It's going to be about older people, right? And I think it's going to be about a woman who Virgin's really getting to me because Virgin. So that's going to tell me maybe she's a virgin. I don't think so though. That'd be like 40-year-old virgin situation. That's too much. I think she's going to be looking for a new start, right? Like a virgin start. Like she's starting her life over. Maybe she's from this city. She's coming back. This is a she's gonna she went off, lived life in the big city. Now she's coming back, and she's like, like I had the big city. Now I want to do something different. That's
what is she
I
coming
think.
there to do? Like, what is her profession that brought her there?
No, I don't know, like horse trainer or something like that. Like she's got to be something.
So she
like
was a big
small
city horse
town.
trainer.
Yeah, I mean, there's like for like the New York Police Department,
Okay.
like horses or something like that. You know what I
That's
mean?
a
Like,
very niche market that she had captured in
well, I
New
mean,
York City.
she's from a small town. Like, I assume their education is still based in like the 1800s. You know, like they haven't updated their textbooks and stuff, so it's still a lot of like very practical. Like, I am gonna learn how to be like a shoe maker, right? Like I'm gonna work with like
A
a
blacksmith?
leather. No, like a shoe maker.
Okay,
Like
a
I'm actually like a
shoemaker.
cobbler,
I
right?
was
Like I'm
still
gonna
stuck on
be.
horses, I'm gonna be honest.
No, I'm saying like this is the education, right? Like you don't like you're
Yeah.
gonna be,
Yeah, okay.
you're gonna go and you're gonna learn how to work like a leather awl, right? Like you're just gonna be there like smoothing out like raw hide that was just taken off a cow, right? Like
Okay.
that's the sort of thing that
I'm
she
gonna be
grew up with.
honest, your education seems very fixated on leather and not a lot of other like areas, like maybe
I don't think. See,
sewing
this is exactly what I'm talking about, right?
or
Like
actually
you.
like tending to agriculture or other things that might be
Right.
needed. So
This is what I'm saying. They don't have to learn how to do agriculture. Like that's the thing. Like now we have like agriculture schools. Back then it was just like your dad taught you how to be a farmer. Like that's
okay.
it. There was
So
no
you're saying
like
that
you know
like
I
that
see
kind of education is like just ingrained in life.
right. Like you're the exact audience for like Virgin River, right? Because you have no idea what it's like to grow up in like a small town. Right? Like you have zero idea what kind of education these people are getting.
Oh,
Like the
and you
actual
do?
leathering. Oh yeah, 100%. Like the actual like leather industry in small towns is massive. I would say
Massive.
conservatively, it's 30 to 40% of the local economy is based in leather goods, right? Like that's what a small town is, right? So she did something, but she was like, look, I want to go against the grain. Like I don't want to be like a leatherman,
Okay.
you know, or a leather woman or whatever, right? Like that's not what I want to do. I want to go to the big city and I want to, I guess, I don't know, like make horseshoes for like the local horses. And so now she's coming back and she's like, actually, I want to tend to like family horses, right? Like I want to be
Family
involved
horses.
in like local equine politics, right? Like that's where her heart is. She wasn't, she was making the big bucks in the big city. Now she's coming back. She's probably rich, because I assume it costs like 12 cents to like live in this town. So she's probably buying some big mansion, whatever. She's trying to start her life over. And there's going to be some guy there who is kind of a, like the local bad boy, and she's going to, at first she's going to be like, no thanks, and then he's going to drop some hints to her, and then they're going to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they're going to have some sort of scene where they then get together, probably outside of both of their control, maybe a blackout of some sort, not a lot of electricity. I don't know what the local utility situation is, but something like that I think is what's gonna kind of gonna drive them together. Maybe he needs to learn how to ride a horse. I don't know. It's very possible. She's the only one who's going to teach him how to ride a horse, right? So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. And my guess is they are going to end up dating, and then something's going to go wrong, and then they're going to break up, and then the rest of the show is going to be about them almost but not quite getting back together. That's what I think
Okay.
this is about.
I feel like you did a fairly good job with like very little.
That's not surprising to me.
It's a little surprising to me.
It's not at all surprising.
Just because I'm surprised about any accomplishment that you achieve and all.
It's literally not
In all
surprising
honesty.
to me, even a little bit.
So, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, this is number 3 on Netflix.
That's sad. Okay, continue.
Yeah. After seeing an ad for a midwife, a recently widowed big city nurse moves to Redwood Forest of Northern California, where she meets an intriguing man.
Of Northern California?
What?
Big city
Yeah.
and then Northern California. First of all, is she a horse nurse by any chance? Or is she just a
No, she's just
nurse?
a regular human midwife. What?
I'm
If you haven't,
not even entirely sure what a midwife does. What does a midwife actually do? I honestly have no idea.
they help with delivering babies.
Why was she doing that in the big city? I don't know. So she worked at a hospital? She was like a hospital midwife?
She worked in a hospital. I don't think she was a midwife in the big city, but she saw an ad for a midwife in the country. It seems like, getting further into it, there was a tragedy with her husband, and in the trailer there's some scene about how I assume she's calling her mother, and her mother's like, no one blames you, this wasn't your fault. So she's running away from a loss to take a job as a medical professional in the middle of nowhere. Does this remind you of any TV show?
Middle of nowhere. Up in, yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, Redwoods of California. It's still remote. But what I'm saying is just that plot line. A medical professional leaves a big city to go to a small town and treat medicine at the local level. Does that remind you of any TV show?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they ripped off, they obviously ripped off Heart of Dixie with My Girl.
Do you know how much they ripped off Heart of Dixie? The doctor that she conflicts with is the same actor that played Brick. Literally.
So he got typecast. All right, that's interesting.
Actor. And there's a bar, the man that she kind of canoodles with, he works at a bar.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So he's
the bartender.
This is a blatant ripoff. He's a bartender.
This is a blatant ripoff. And the other thing that it reminds me of is Schitt's Creek, and they did Virgin River. You know, it's not really like Schitt's Creek, but it's kind of the idea of, going to a remote. I don't know if you've seen Schitt's Creek, but it's this family that loses their fortune, and then they have to move to Schitt's Creek because whatever, that's the only place they own. But I'm like, even the title wasn't super original either. And this is trending at number 3, which is just like, redid.
This is what I'm saying. Like, people in America, for some reason, are obsessed with small town life. Like, everybody kind of shits all over it, right? Like you have like a daily conversation with people, they're like, oh, like backwoods people who like live in small towns, whatever. But everybody is obsessed with small towns. Like, they don't understand how it works, like whatever, but they're all the exact same storyline, right? Like, somebody was from a small town, they want to move back, they want to do their thing, whatever. Look, what I'm telling you is nobody's ever left a small town and then gone, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to move back to the same small town that I was from, right? Like, there was a very explicit reason that every single one of those people left, right? There's nobody who has ever left a small town and then gone, hey, you know what? Whether I'm successful or I was unsuccessful, doesn't matter. They're like, I want to move back to this same small town. That doesn't happen. Now, there are people who are from a small town, they go, they find success, or they don't find success in the big city, and then they're like, hey, you know what? I want to go back to the slower life because I enjoy that more. That's fine. They do not go back to the same place. Nobody wants to see those people, right? Like, think about how many people like from high school you still know, right? Now, just imagine your entire town is all of the people from high school that you can't stand, right? That's what would be happening. Like, there is zero chance that people would be doing that. But I guess maybe this lady isn't from there, but now she wants to go back to a small town. She clearly doesn't know what she's doing. Like, that's a terrible idea. You can't be a big city person and kind of have like the anonymity of the big city, right? And then go back to a small town and then just assume that your life is going to be okay, because there is all kinds of privacy that you're not going to have. I mean, I'm talking rumors, I'm talking everything is going to happen and you have no idea. But people think this is like, but people are like obsessed with this idea, right? They are obsessed with going to the small, remote area where who knows exactly what happens there, but I really want to find out because it's like small town drama, whatever. Everybody would hate this in their real life. Like everybody wouldn't be able to stand this in real life. It would suck. Honestly, it would suck. It would suck to live in a small town. If you live in a small town, it's got to be terrible. That's why the people want to leave in the first place. So I don't really understand. So she's basically running away from her life. Is that what you're telling me? Which I think
it sounds like she's running away from like a tragedy. I don't know. The impression I got, again, never seen the show. The impression I got was she might have been in the hospital when like her husband was being treated and like something went down with that, where so she has had a crisis of just her profession and also her life, and so then she removes herself from the situation to start over as a midwife, bringing new life, and where she's going to find herself in the process.
How many possible human beings can be born in a place that's out in the middle of nowhere? Like, I don't understand like the need for a midwife. Like, how many people are possibly being born in a small town where everybody knows each other? Like, how many births are they possibly having?
I have no idea, but they probably need a midwife because they're nowhere near a hospital.
Right. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying what she has, like, what, 3 a year? So, like, what does she do with her time?
It's a very specific need, when I would assume you would just say, like, a nurse.
Like, she should be tending to horses way more often. Like, if she was a vet, she would be busier. She would be more successful financially.
Is this you trying to bring in your plot?
Yeah, I'm saying this would be, number one, it'd be a way better thing. But number two, like, she would be successful, like, financially way more successful, right? And like, I get people like, oh, it's not all about money. Whatever. She's like 3 births a year. She's going to make like $12. Like, even in a small town, you can't buy goods for $12 to last you an entire year. It doesn't exist. This isn't a Little House on the Prairie. Like, that's not how this works. You know, like, I think in one episode of like, or one book of like Little House on the Prairie, like this little girl, you know, she thinks like she bought a stove for 5 cents. Like, that's not how this shit works anymore. You know, like, you fundamentally can't buy these things for that cheap. I think the stove costs like $12. Like, you can't live on $12. That was back in the 1800s. A stove cost $12. Like, today, the stove obviously costs more than $12. You can't just live on $12 a year. There's not enough births for her to sustain herself financially. So either she's just burning her nest egg that she made, I guess, being whatever in the big city, or she's going back and she's going to be broke forever. And you know where it's a terrible place to be broke? The country. That's a terrible place to be broke. If you think that in the city you can't get anything, there's no government stores in the country. You have to drive to the city to pick up your food stamp stuff. Like, there is zero positives.
You don't think your neighbors will help you out in the country?
See, that's the misconception. They're all poor too. What are they doing? You're telling me that there's no, like, you're the one who's over here telling me like, well, they don't have a leather industry, so obviously this isn't a booming small town economy. And so, like, what are they doing? I don't understand. Like, there's no money. And she's going to birth like 3-4 people a year? When, how much did that possibly cost? How much could she possibly make?
I don't know. And Brick doesn't want her there again. So, I mean, Brick's kind of like a dick to like new nurses.
No, he's smart. He's looking, he's saying, look, this is a dog-eat-dog world. There's only 4 births. Like, I'm not going to give you my money. There's only 4 births. Like, this is the problem. Like, people are going to watch this. They're going to be like, you know what? This guy's being a real dick. But you know what he's doing? He's looking at the mouths that he has to feed, and he's going, well, these other citizens of this small community aren't going to be paying me millions of dollars a year, so I need all the money I can get to be the breadwinner of this family. Like, that's what's happening here. But everybody's going to look at him and be like, oh, no, he's a terrible guy. He's absolutely not a terrible guy. He's making smart financial decisions. This lady is going to ruin her financial future by moving into this little place and dating the bartender at a local pub. Like, that's a terrible idea. This is not a good idea.
He could have a nest egg from when he was living in the big city. We don't know yet.
The small town bartender, that guy has obviously lived there his entire life. Like, he's obviously been there his entire life. He's making, I don't know, a nickel every day. Like I don't understand how he's living financially, but I assume he's not living in a nice house, right? Probably some sort of shack out in the middle of somewhere. I don't know. Is this lady prepared for the amount of mosquitoes and bugs and wildlife that's going to happen here? Like you go to the big city, there is none of that. That's not a thing that exists, right? You get a couple mosquitoes here or there, but it's not a swamp where just mosquitoes breed, right? This is where the mosquitoes come from. And so she's going to go to their nest and she thinks like, oh, I'll be fine. And she's running away. This is a terrible idea. Like, do not run away from whatever happened with your husband and then go to try and date the guy. But the first guy you're going to date is the town bad boy. That's never going to work. That is a terrible rebound guy. Like, you need someone who's going to take care of you, who's going to understand things about you. He's going to be patient with you. All of those things.
And you don't think the bartender is that person?
Absolutely not. Obviously, he's not. I'm assuming he's a single bartender, probably in his 30s. My guess is he's never been married.
He looks a little older. It's let's see if you.
I mean, I just like fundamentally, I think I think she's making some really bad. She's making some really bad choices here. I just don't think this is a good. All right, and now I'm looking this up. There's a trailer here.
Yeah.
It appears that she is going to kiss a boy who looks like he's maybe under the age of 18. So that's aggressive. That's literally what it is right here. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I can put this up. Maybe I'll share my – I guess I could, like, maybe share my screen here or something. But, like, I mean, this is just – that's actually literally what this is. Like, I mean, I'm just watching this trailer, and it's just this guy – and she's like making out with this. Well, now they got old people making out with each other. Yeah. And she's like kissing this young dude. I don't understand what's happening here.
Are we talking about the same show?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Like, I'm just telling you what I see on some of these things. And this woman, I mean, just doesn't look like. She's in a batting cage at one point. She lives in a wooden cabin, apparently, which I guess is fine. Oh man, now, yep, she's gonna kiss this bartender. This is just a disaster. It's not gonna go well for her. I'm telling you, it's absolutely not gonna go well for her. I think she should stay in the. Do you think there's a therapist in this town? My guess is no. My guess is just a flat no.
They should. It sounds like they need one.
No, it sounds like she needs one. Like, she very specifically needs some sort of mental professional. And I think that she's now in a location where she can't get one. Like, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, I don't think people really understand. Like, if you're going to go into one of these places, you have to be pretty self-sufficient, right? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to shoot your own food or not? Because that's how you live, right? Like, that's literally how you live. You shoot things or hunt them in some form or fashion, right? And then you cook that meat that you have then taken off of the bones yourself. I don't think this lady's prepared for that. She's been going to the grocery store her whole life.
Chicken.
This is what I'm saying, right? Like, so I don't think she's prepared for like the lack of amenities that are going to happen in this small town. And I really don't think the people who are watching these shows really understand that, right? Like, they sort of get this sort of idyllic version of, you know, like, oh man, it might be kind of nice to like go live like in the middle of nowhere and like do this. But yeah, but you can't do it. Like, Amazon doesn't even deliver to this place, right? Like, Amazon does not deliver to this place. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't prime anything in this place. It does not exist. You can't get satellite television. Not entirely sure you can get internet, although maybe you can, but it's like the satellite internet, right? It's not like, oh, let me get like some Comcast or something like that. It's like literally like those, whatever, it's like HughesNet or whatever that bullshit is that like you have to see on TV.
Yeah, definitely
a satellite that goes in the middle of nowhere, like whatever. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, so there is no, like, I don't think people really understand what it's like to go live in one of these places. And yet people are fascinated by going out there because they're like, oh, well, I could do that. I mean, absolutely not. There is zero chance that you could do that. And this lady is definitely not going to be able to survive this. She's not going to survive. Absolutely not. She's not going to survive.
She's going to eat her
alive.
Not
this
gonna
guy's going to eat her
survive,
alive.
as in it's going to be a challenge for her, or not survive, as in she's literally going to die.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she's literally going to die. Like, she has no experience cooking or killing or maiming her own food. Zero experience.
That might be the best plot line that could possibly happen for the show. I mean, honestly.
No, because people are dumb and people don't want to watch that, right? Like, they don't want to watch like the realities of what it's like to like not be able to actually sustain yourself, like from like just a literal sustenance standpoint. And so they're like, well, no, but like let's just pretend that like all those amenities still exist, but we're just in a small town where everybody knows each other because that'll be way more fun. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. I mean, now it's just literal fantasy because that doesn't exist. Whatever. Like, I mean, that was like half of the reason that Game of Thrones was so popular, because he put such a detail into like how do you actually feed people if there's going to be a winter that lasts that long? Like how do we actually literally keep all this food, whatever? There's no chance that Virgin River is taking any of that into consideration. And they're just like, whatever, let's put a scarf around her. It's the winter, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. She'll eat whatever. Like, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this lady should be doing this. I think this is setting herself up for failure. I think she should seek a mental health professional who is in a reputable practice, probably in a town that is much larger than this one, so that she can really deal with her husband's dying, as opposed to just running away. Like, she just seems like she's running away. I'm not really rooting for her, Like, I'm just not like she's running away from her problems. Like, why don't you face it?
I don't disagree with you. I'm also just shocked that this show is so popular when I couldn't get through the entire Heart of Dixie. Like by the time a couple seasons in, they had gone through those plot lines multiple times, and now people want to watch another person go through essentially half of the same life experiences. That is mind-boggling to me, that this, like you said, you brought this up even before we started talking about what the actual show is about, that this is something that people are just fascinated by and they'll watch it over and over again.
Yeah, people just want to see, but that's the thing, right? Like, I don't think this is not like a 7-season show. I don't think, like, Netflix is not going to give this like a 7 seasons. This is Netflix original.
No.
Is that what you're telling me?
It's like it is a Netflix original.
Netflix is not going to give this show 7. It's not going to be 7 seasons. Like, that's just not what's going to happen. It's going to be 2 or 3 seasons, maybe a 4th season, something like that, because people are going to get tired of it, whatever, and then they'll wait another year.
I hope they kill her off in the final season.
Well, they might. I don't know.
I'll be rooting for that, and I'll think of you when it happens.
It's very possible, but they're just going to run this, and they're going to run this back forever because people are stupid, and people are like, oh, I want to see like a fantasy world where like this exists, whatever. Like, this is basically just like a drawn out version of like Sweet Home Alabama. That's what they want to see. I'm guessing it's not going to work, whatever, but whatever. It's trending, like, good for them. They're fine. I just see a lot of actual logistical problems with this. It's a very unbelievable script. But honestly, I think the fact that she's a midwife is just a real poison pill for this show. I think they should have given her something where like it happened more than once a year. Like, that's what I think. I think her profession should have been something where she could have done it more than one time per season.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they're taking Heart of Dixie off Netflix. I was just checking to see if they took it off because I knew that they would have, there was no way they were keeping it on Netflix with this show running.
I mean, it's not surprising. People like to watch dumb stuff, whatever. Like, it's fine. I mean, I don't criticize. I mean, look, you like what you like. Watch whatever you want. Like, I got a lot of respect for people who are just like, keep rolling back the same thing. Like, that's all fine. I have no problem. I'm sure it's kind of interesting, like the first season, like there's a lot of stuff happening, like all that stuff, whatever. But all of those things, I'm telling you, I can pretty much tell you how it's going to end. She's obviously going to end up with the guy, whatever, but they're going to get together, then they're going to break up, and then they're going to be a series of things where they're almost getting together, but they're not quite, and there's going to be somebody new, whatever, like all that's going to happen. Everybody's going to like it for like 3 seasons, and then it'll jump the shark, and everybody will be like, all right, I'm out, like, this sucks. That's totally fine, but yeah, I mean, this is basically the CW, right? Like, that's basically what Netflix is doing. They're basically just going and they're just replicating some of these things, and whatever. I mean, that's fine. Watch it if you want. I'm sure it's good, like brain candy, to just have on in the background and like you're not paying attention.
Yeah,
like that's fine. But I can't get too fired up about this lady specifically. But the writing, I think the writing is lazy. Right, it's very, very lazy writing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They need to again, they should have done something different than a nurse. Like, just nurse is
I know
so
they
good.
could. I think that like also
If her husband had died in some
like,
sort of horse accident, that's way more interesting, right? Like he got kicked in the face by a horse or something like that, and now she has to go work on horses. And now at one point, like the horse like kicks his back legs, and she sees like the whole thing in front of her because it almost hits her.
Moment.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is the type of thing that would put butts in the seats, right? Like, that's the type of thing that gets you more streams. That's why people should be listening to me, because that's way more interesting than this lady like one time a year like seeing a lady in like some gynecological stirrups or whatever, and she's like, it
needs to be different stirrups.
You have a baby, like whatever, it's fine, but she needs to be out there. It's way more interesting. She can like ride the horse, like all this. Like, she can't ride a human being. That's illegal, I'm pretty sure, right? So like this is
not without
this
consent.
is the type of thing that would have what my idea would have added seasons to this show. It would have added seasons, but they didn't do it. And so, we're not going to get a 3-episode arc of her like out in the middle of nowhere with some horses. They got to save them. There's some sort of fence involved, like whatever. That's not going to happen. Whatever. Like, it is what it is. It sounds like a terrible show, but I'm glad for the actors that people are watching. Hopefully they keep getting paid for a while. But I'm not a fan of this. I'm going to give this 2 thumbs down. I think this is terrible. Definitely my official rating, 2 thumbs down. Never have to see it. Never want to see it. That's my rating for this.
This is a rare one that we probably agree on. I'm not sure if I would watch your horse show for several seasons, but I think I would watch it for longer than this Heart of Dixie remake. So
there is zero chance.
Kudos to you.
There's zero chance that you would not watch my
winning this one.
No, that you would absolutely watch my horse show for 4 or 5, maybe 6 full seasons.
4 or 5. Oh wow!
Absolutely, that's a fact. That is objectively scientific. It's been proven over and over again. You watch terrible shows. Mine is a terrible show, but I guarantee that if I had some horses in there, there's some stuff where it's like you're riding out in the middle of nowhere, like all that kind of thing, that you would be definitely on board with that. So yeah, I think, whatever, like, let's kill this show off. Let's get my show going. Put me on as some sort of executive producer or something. I think that's what's happening. What do you give this show? You give this show,
we're gonna do.
You give it a thumbs up, you give it a thumbs down. Like, what is your rating on this show? It's just your binary. What is your rating for this show?
What is my rating?
Yeah.
Probably 1 thumbs down, because like you said, I do like terrible TV, and I can't say I wouldn't accidentally start watching all of this.
Oh, you definitely, I'm sure you are going to watch this, so that'll be good. But all right, well, I think we've done it. I think we've done episode whatever of plotting, and
we have.
I think we will. We will.
And if you out there want you to do a movie, the email is info.plotting@gmail.com, and you can send us your most obscure movies with interesting titles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, something that I can sink my teeth into, something that might be kind of interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Send your ideas. I got nothing but time, so we got plenty of time to do all the ideas.
Yes.
And
if you're a huge fan of Virgin River, and you want to tell us why we're wrong about why we should watch this, he's never going to watch it. I might. So I'd like to hear your defense of Virgin River, because right now I don't really see any redeeming qualities.
Honestly, if you're a fan of Virgin River, keep your opinion to yourself. Do not send anything. I don't want to hear it. You don't need to hear it. Honestly, I think your opinion is probably going to be pretty ill-formed and probably not very informative. So why don't you keep that one to yourself? Maybe send us a better, some other idea of something that we can do. But I don't think you need to hear it. I've already told you what's going on here. I've already told you a better version of it. You know what? If we get 0 comments on this one, I'm totally fine with that. Keep it 0. That's fine. We don't need it for this. I'm not going to pander for votes on a terrible show like this.
You really can't pander, so it's good that you've owned that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's something I believe in, right? Like, I fundamentally believe you have to believe in the art. Right, like I said, that's something I believe in. I'm not going to pander for that. So
Oh Lord.
so all right. So anyways, we've now done Virgin River. That's in the can,
Yes,
and we will see everybody next time.
we will.